Hi everyone. It's been a very long time since I made a video like this, but I've been sitting on it for quite a while, and I think it's time to actually start doing it. As you can tell, yeah, we have another impeachment case to talk about on this channel. Like I already said in the end of the most recent one, I said that I will eventually cover whatever the next impeachment case is. Well, here I am, I'm doing it now, but as you may tell by the look of the last thumbnail of the last impeachment video and this one, we are talking about the same person again. Yeah, we are talking about Donald Trump again. He is right now the first and so far only person to be impeached twice. What was he charged with? Well, we'll get to that in a little bit. We got a bunch of congressional footage for you all from both houses of Congress, because this one was quite interesting. Alright, so, obviously, this is about Donald Trump. The position that he has, well, here's the thing. When he was formally impeached, he was the current president of the United States. But as you may know, he is no longer the president, and Biden is now president, which means that his current position is, well, he's just known as the former president of the United States. So there really is no actual position for him right now. Although that may change in the future, because I believe he's debating on running for president again in 2024. I've seen a couple news articles saying he might run for Congress next year for Florida, but we'll find out. His current age is, he's 74. Date of his impeachment. Well, he was impeached on January 13th of this year, which is funny because it was a week after the Capitol riot of 2021, which is why the House impeached him, which is also a week before his term expired. Yeah, Congress just kind of rushed through it because Trump obviously knew that the election was rigged, which it was, not only on the Democratic end, but honestly on both ends. But no one wants to admit to it, so that's how corrupt our government is, guys. So, what was the actual charge of impeachment? Well, we're going to take a listen to what Congress have to say and hear the whole bill for impeachment.
Does the gentleman from New York, Mr. Nadler, seek recognition?
Madam Speaker, pursuant to House Resolution 41, I call up House Resolution 24 and ask for its immediate consideration in the House.
The clerk will report the resolution.
House Resolution 24, resolved that Donald John Trump, President of the United States, is impeached for high crimes and misdemeanors, and that the following article of impeachment be exhibited to the United States Senate. Article of impeachment exhibited by the House of Representatives of the United States of America in the name of itself and of the people of the United States of America against Donald John Trump, President of the United States of America, in maintenance and support of its impeachment against him for high crimes and misdemeanors. Article 1, Incitement of Insurrection. The Constitution provides that the House of Representatives shall have the sole power of impeachment, and that the President shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other crimes and misdemeanors. Further, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to the Constitution prohibits any person who has engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the United States from holding any office under the United States in his conduct while President of the United States, and in violation of his constitutional oath faithfully to execute the office of the President of the United States and to the best of his ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, and in violation of his constitutional duty to take care that the laws be faithfully executed, Donald John Trump engaged in high crimes and misdemeanors by inciting violence against the government of the United States, and that on January 6, 2021, pursuant to the 12th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States, the Vice President of the United States, the House of Representatives, and the Senate met at the United States Capitol for a joint session of Congress to count the votes of the Electoral College. In the months preceding the joint session, President Trump repeatedly issued false statements asserting that the presidential election results were the product of widespread fraud and should not be accepted by the American people or certified by state or federal officials. Shortly before the joint session commenced, President Trump addressed a crowd at the Ellipse in Washington, D.C. There, he reiterated false claims that we won this election and we won it by a landslide. He also willfully made statements that, in context, encouraged and foreseeably resulted in lawless action at the Capitol, such as, if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. Thus incited by President Trump, members of the crowd he had addressed, in an attempt to, among other objectives, interfere with the joint session's solemn constitutional duty to certify the results of the 2020 presidential election, unlawfully breached and vandalized the Capitol, injured and killed law enforcement personnel, menaced members of Congress, the Vice President, and congressional personnel, and engaged in other violent, deadly, destructive, and seditious acts. President Trump's conduct on January 6, 2021, followed his prior efforts to subvert and obstruct the certification of the results of the 2020 presidential election. Those prior efforts included a phone call on January 2, 2021, during which President Trump urged the Secretary of State of Georgia, Brad Raffensperger, to find enough votes to overturn the Georgia presidential election results, and threatened Secretary Raffensperger if he failed to do so. In all of this, President Trump gravely endangered the security of the United States and its institutions of government. He threatened the integrity of the democratic system, interfered with the peaceful transition of power, and imperiled a co-equal branch of government. He thereby betrayed his trust as president to the manifest injury of the people of the United States. Wherefore, Donald John Trump, by such conduct, has demonstrated that he will remain a threat to the national security, democracy, and the Constitution if allowed to remain in office, and has acted in a manner grossly incompatible with self-governance and the rule of law. Donald John Trump thus warrants impeachment and trial, removal from office, and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States.
The resolution shall be debatable for 2 hours, equally divided and controlled by the chair and the ranking minority member of the Committee on the Judiciary. The gentleman from New York, Mr. Nadler, and the gentleman from Ohio, Mr. Jordan, will each control 1 hour.
Yeah, so that was the bill for impeachment, and the charge of impeachment, incitement of insurrection. So yeah, that's Trump's third impeachment charge under his belt. Because as you remember, back in 2019 when he was impeached of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. And now he has a third, incitement of insurrection. All because of the riot of the Capitol building back in January. Which the funny thing was, I was at work at the time of it, going down. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Because I was looking at the TV in the cafeteria. I'm like, wow, this is either Trump supporters doing a peaceful protest, or it's Antifa about to storm the Capitol, so that way the Democrats can blame Trump for it. But either way, the Democrats got what they wanted in the long run. Which, speaking of which, for the House Judiciary vote, I was actually unable to find it because I'm pretty sure they did not even vote on it. So if I eventually find it, I will put it in the description below. And yeah, we'll go from there. So, how did the House vote on it? Well, we will show you right now.
The question is on adoption of the resolution. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized. For what reason?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We'd ask for a roll call vote.
Pursuant to Section 3S of House Resolution 8, the yeas and nays are ordered. Members will record their votes by an electronic device.
On this vote, the ayes are 232, the nays are 197. The resolution is adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid upon the table.
All right, so right there, you saw the House voting to impeach Trump. The Congresswoman at the beginning is whoever the Speaker Pro Tem is. To ask for the roll call vote, that was my fellow congressman from right here in Ohio, Jim Jordan. Ooh. Funny enough, I actually voted for him for re-election for, this current Congress, which, he's still there. And delivering the final vote was House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who is third in line to the presidency, which means if the current president and vice president die, she's next in line for the presidency, which that would never happen. So there were 232 yeas, which all 222 Democrats voted for, and there were 10 Republicans that joined alongside them. They are as follows: Liz Cheney of Wyoming, Anthony Gonzalez of Ohio, Jamie Bettler of Washington, John Katko, spelled Katko, of New York, Adam Kinzinger of Illinois, Dan Newhouse of Washington, Peter Meyer of Michigan, Tom Rice of South Carolina, Fred Upton of Michigan, and David Valado of California. Which means that you would assume that all the other Republicans voted no, right? All of them except four. Four of them did not vote at all. And those four Republicans are Kay Granger of Texas, Andy Harris of Maryland, Gregory Murphy of North Carolina, and Daniel Webster of Florida. Yeah. Now, like how I said before, the House Judiciary Committee vote was, I was unable to find it, but, if I find it, I will put it in the comments below. Or not comments, but in the description. I actually don't know if they even did it or not, to be honest with you. So yeah, House impeaches Trump literally a week before his term ends. His term ends, the trial is delivered to the Senate, and the Senate is now presented with a very big question: whether or not if this impeachment case is constitutional to continue. So let's jump over to the other side of the building, into the Senate, and let's listen in to what they have to say for whether or not it's constitutional or not.
Mr. President.
Majority Leader is recognized.
Mr. President, in a moment, I will call up a resolution to govern the structure of the second impeachment trial of Donald John Trump. It's been agreed to by the House managers, the former President's counsel, and is co-sponsored by the Republican leader. It is bipartisan. It's our solemn constitutional duty to conduct a fair and honest impeachment trial of the charges against former President Trump, the gravest charges ever brought against a president of the United States in American history. This resolution provides for a fair trial, and I ask the Senate to adopt it. Mr. President, I send a resolution to the desk on my behalf and that of the Republican leader for the organizing of the next phases of this trial.
Clerk will report.
Senate Resolution 47, to provide for related procedures concerning the article of impeachment against Donald John Trump, former President of the United States.
The question occurs on the adoption of the resolution.
I ask for the yeas and nays.
Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. There is a sufficient second. The clerk will call the roll. In this vote, the yeas are 89, the nays are 11. The resolution is agreed to. And pursuant to the provisions of Senate Resolution 47, there shall now be 4 hours of argument by the parties, equally divided, on the question of whether Donald John Trump is subject to the jurisdiction of a court of impeachment for acts committed while President of the United States, notwithstanding the expiration of his term in that office.
All right. So right there, you saw Senate Majority Leader, Senator Chuck Schumer of New York, talking to the President Pro Tempore of the Senate, which is Senator Patrick Leahy of Vermont, who is number 4 of the line of succession, which means that if the current President, Vice President, and Speaker of the House die, President Pro Tempore is up for grabs for the presidency. Just keep that in mind. We may do a video on that in the near future. The Senate votes to whether or not if the trial is constitutional. And the vote, as you saw there, was 89 to 11. So with that out of the way, it means that they can actually continue and, proceed with the actual trial. All right, and the moment you've all been waiting for, the overall conviction vote, which I guess is everyone's favorite part. Let us see how the Senate voted and find out whether or not if Trump is disqualified from holding any office in the future. Because remember, he's not the president anymore, and he, see if he's qualified enough to hold any office of public trust in the future.
Each senator, when his or her name is called, will stand in his or her place, and they'll vote guilty or not guilty as required by Rule 23 of the Senate Rules of Impeachment. Article 1, Section 3, Clause 6 of the Constitution, regarding the vote required for conviction on impeachment, provides that, quote, no person shall be convicted without the concurrence of 2/3 of the members present, close quote. The question is on the article of impeachment. Senators, how say you? Is the respondent Donald John Trump guilty or not guilty? The yeas are 57. The nays are 43. 2/3 of the senators present not having voted guilty. The Senate judges that the respondent, Donald John Trump, former President of the United States, is not guilty as charged in the article of impeachment. The presiding officer directs judgment to be entered in accordance with the judgment of the Senate as follows. The Senate, having tried Donald John Trump, former President of the United States, upon one article of impeachment exhibited against him by the House of Representatives, and 2/3 of the senators present not having found him guilty of the charge contained therein, it is therefore ordered and adjudged that the said Donald John Trump be, and he is hereby acquitted of the charge in said article.
All right, so right there, you saw that the Senate pretty much acquitted Trump with the vote of 57 to 43. Now, as the little number flashed up on the screen right there during President Pro Tempore Leahy's spiel there, in order for full-on conviction, which is, required by the Constitution, that 2/3 of the senators present has to decide whether or not if, that office holder is guilty or not. And, since we have 100 senators, 2/3 of that would be 67. And the Senate was effectively 10 votes short. And some of them definitely jumped over party lines. We actually have 7 Republicans that voted guilty. And those senators are Senator Richard Burr of North Carolina, Senator Cassidy of Louisiana, Senator Susan Collins of Maine, Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, Senator Mitt Romney of Utah. Yeah, we talked about him last time. Senator Ben Sasse of Nebraska, and Senator Pat Toomey of Pennsylvania. Wow, okay, that makes sense now. My Snapchat was just blowing up. But yeah, those are the 7 senators that joined alongside with the Democrats to vote guilty. Pretty much every single Democrat plus the 2 independents voted to convict him and, disqualify him for holding any office in the future. But since they didn't meet that effective 2/3 requirement of 67 or more, Trump was pretty much acquitted, even though the vast majority of the Senate wanted to convict him. So, for the second time, Donald Trump is acquitted, which means he can hold an office of public trust in the future if he so desires. All right, so that is all for impeachment for today. I hope you all had a great time. And yeah, that's actually all I have for today. So, thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Whenever we do another impeachment trial, it'll be, whenever one happens, and at least a month after it's happened. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video of whatever it may be. Stay cool, stay tuned.